Welcome in to Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, the only podcast on the Markside Media Empire conglomeration, beating down the doors of perception to bring you episode by episode, beat by beat, and sweat by sweat breakdowns of Lucha Underground. We are all the way up to Season 3, Episode 34. My name is Sean, and with me is James.
Hello, Sean. This has got to be the quickest episode we've ever done.
That's fine. There's one match I didn't care much to watch.
There's all the matches. I don't remember what happened.
Thank you so much, because I missed last week's recording.
I mean, I should have, knowing, actually, I didn't know I would have to work today. Did a convention all weekend, so I'm exhausted. Wasn't the best convention. Met Dana Snyder, and he was a very nice man to me because I was the only member in most of his panels because that's how bad the convention was attended. But
damn, because you mentioned Christian Cage as well as Orange Cassidy, who are two wrestlers I absolutely love, were there. I just didn't have convention money this time around.
I gotta tell you this, because this relates.
No.
Orange Cassidy, this is how poorly it was attended, and it was a horror convention, so, like, yes, some wrestlers were there, and wrestling fans, interlope.
Yeah.
It was regular that I just saw him sadly walking around the convention because Eli Roth did not have people in his line waiting for him at many times. So Orange Cassidy, I just saw complete, sunglasses, jean jacket, jean pants, just walking around, just looking at booths. It was wild how poorly this was attended. But again,
damn.
On a first name basis, Dana Snyder would pass me and be like, James, and I'm like, hello, sir.
All right, so we can add Dana Snyder to the list of possible guests for a Lucha Underground podcast.
Why not? And then one of the people on his podcast, I was like, wait, Carbonaro Effect, Crew Jacket, did you work on that? And he's like, yeah, the 3 seasons. I was like, do you know Melzer? And he's like, yeah, man, I love Melzer. I was like, me too.
At the end of the day, you can always find somebody who knows Melzer.
Yeah, oh, for sure. But what you need to find is probably like an undercover. Oh, no, what we need to find is the 99th episode of this podcast. No, wait, I've done some Flintstones bullshit, but proper. This is the 99th episode of Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling, Sean.
We are covering the 99th episode of Lucha Underground. Ergo, this must be at least the 99th episode of Sweaty Time. Episode 34 of Season 3, Career Opportunities.
You could have kept going, I didn't know Henry was in here when we started, and now he no longer is in here.
Oh, totally. For those because we do not show the camera feed, I saw James step up for a second and open the door, and I could have kept going, yes, but I didn't want to feel alone, so I waited for you to come back.
I stepped up to the streets.
Yeah. I've often said you're kind of like the stepdad of the podcasting game in Chicago.
Okay, all right. I won't take that, but I think I'll take the foster dad. Hey, or foster uncle. That could be a thing.
The Karen Foster uncle. Mine and your personal favorite character on Step by Step.
Second, tied for favorite.
Yeah. Oh no, shoot. I meant Dana, who was my. I know someone character you hate in retrospect, but someone I had a massive crush growing up on, and still kind of do. Dana. I know that's not your real name because that was your character's name. But please, the actor, do not contact me. Dana Foster, contact me. And I don't know, I'll let you guest on this.
You don't want Dana Foster contacting you. I swear she's still seeped in second wave feminism. It's complicated. It's problematic.
Every other week, you tell me we need more guests on this podcast. I go out of my way to reach out to fictional character from long ago television series, Dana Foster, and now you tell me you're sending me mixed signals, and I care not for them.
Yeah, well, deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. How about we deal our way over to the desk as we are 3 weeks away from Ultima Lucha Tres and 1 week away from episode 100, which Vampiro takes the time to thank the believers as well as the cast and crew. And Matt Stryker thanks the believers as well. There is palpable energy. They feel I don't know, because we usually don't have episode 99s. They were just very earnest up top about like, hey, this is kind of crazy. We have gotten this far on this like comparatively shoestring budget of a wrestling show compared to like WWE or even WCW back in the day. It's because you guys are so excited about this. So there's like a very tender thank you up top. And then Stryker kind of leads into what we're expecting tonight, a special announcement from Dario Cueto. But first, we got to get to the ring for another ancient Aztec medallion match.
Woo!
We're ramping up to another Gift of the Gods, probably at Ultima Lucha. But this ancient Aztec medallion match is between Drago with Cobra versus the Mac.
Oh, yeah. Also, it's the gift of the yaoi, okay?
Oh, okay.
Gift of Jehovah.
Oh, all right.
Gift of Jesus? Gift of Satan.
There it is. Yeah.
All right, there we go. What's
Thank
a
you
S
so much.
word or a C that, has sound? What is that means gift?
That means gift. A sexy little number
No,
that I
it needs
give
to be
my husband.
a sexy
on-
little number of Satan isn't.
Actually, sexy little number of Satan is something.
Yeah, but that probably means like it's 6669. Like that's his sexy little number.
See, it absolutely was something.
Okay, well, it doesn't sound good.
What sexy little number of Satan? That's my. When I break into, I'm gonna start writing jazz standards a la Cole Porter. And sexy little number of Satan is gonna be a barn burner. And when all the theater kids are singing sexy little number of Satan at their auditions for Godspell, you're gonna owe me some royalties there, buddy. So Drago versus the Mac.
Real quick, dowry of the devil. We could do that.
Ooh, okay, yeah, all right, great.
Or sacrifice of Satan. Sacrifice is kind of a gift.
It's kind of a gift. I'm not excited. Like, I don't have warm feelings about sacrifice, though.
Wait.
Well, that's not true. TNA Sacrifice. That's a great they've been some hot pay-per-views with that name.
I'm on thesaurus.com, and one that starts with an S is sexy little number of Satan.
Thank you. 669, baby.
A damn good time. How you gonna suck it to me one more time, get low, and get
low?
into this match?
This is the first note I have is this is a great, and I should have put perfect, match to send someone who asks what is pro wrestling. That's like, if you're a fan and maybe like a long time fan, you might have run into that situation where you're like, how do you get someone into this thing I love? Right? That's not just about wrestling. I think that's 80s sort of niche interest. Like, how do I get, what is the gateway? How do I get someone who's never heard of this thing into this stuff? We've often said Lucha Underground is the perfect show to do that. I think this match specifically, like if you're just texting someone and they're like, what is wrestling? This match, little spoilers, it is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. This is an abundantly short match. And it is amazing. It is Drago and the Mac, I think, two wrestlers we're both huge fans of, and we've been. And I keep the times up on another screen so I can just watch the match and try not to be spoiled. I was shocked to look over and be like, oh, it's not even 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's great.
Wait, so what's the other match weren't there just 2 matches in this one?
There were 3 matches.
Okay, I'm curious as to what one's the one you don't like.
We'll get to it. I don't dislike the match, but we'll get into that when we get into it. Let's talk about Drago and the Mac first.
Well, first, Drago, he belongs to a set, a cult, so this is his fault. Tradition. There are lines that I wrote down that probably Vampiro said that. Now I don't remember what they mean.
And you know what? You chose to look up thesaurus.com as opposed to rewatching this episode, and it was a good choice. I don't want to take that away from you.
I wanted to rewatch the episode, but I had a lot to do, and I didn't get to bed. I was at a convention all week.
You were. I'm teasing you when you've done nothing wrong. I think you're referring to he's still being walked to the ring with a chain around his neck by Cobra, and Vampiro explains that once you belong to any kind of a set with dark intentions, which he specifies things like cults or gangs or anything that is of the inframundo. If you leave, that set, they will come back and claim what is theirs, which is your soul.
Which I remember why I wrote down tradition. Hey guys, just like regardless if it's bad or not, just keep doing it.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, I know. That's what.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's how, people keep being oppressed. Oh, well, this is how it's always been. And it's like, but it doesn't need to be that way. So Vampiro, I don't care about what devil cult Drago used to be. And also, he was kind of born into it. So I think he can leave it. Like, even the Amish, this is why they're not a cult. They say, like, yeah, man, you Rumspringa, you can go see the outside world. And if you choose not to be in it, you don't need to be. The Mormons don't have that. Scientology doesn't have that.
I think that's what the actor, not the character, where like I think Ian Hodge, I just totally blanked on his last name.
Hodgkinson.
Hodgkinson, I think yes. He said, like, the way he sets up, like, any set with dark intentions. Like, if you do something that, like, you join up with, like, because this is now becoming a running theme. It's the same theme as Son of Havoc and Son of Mayhem, right? Where Son of Havoc joined the temple seemingly to leave his biker gang behind, and now they're coming back for him. You can kind of say, I mean, I'm curious how this leads up with him and Puma and Penta, because you could say they're now kind of creating a dark set, the followers of the Maestro Vampiro. And I think it's specifically that it's the Amish, not all of them, probably some of them, are not evil. They do not have this inframundo energy swirling around them.
Oh, hold on. You said some of them, not all. I would assume most Amish are not evil, and some are. That's how I would phrase this.
Now, I have not yet seen Sinners. I assume the movie somehow deals with the Amish and their death-like devil worship cults.
Did you grow up in Amish country?
Not really.
Okay, I did. Like, my Nana lived, like, in order to travel to her home, we would quite frequently be caught behind a horse-drawn carriage full of the Amish. And how many times were they sacrificing goats?
0
times.
To ensure safe travel? Zero. That's lower than I thought it would be.
The only gripe, at least my grandfather ever had, was they should be paying taxes if they are selling merchandise, because like they can just like claim wood wherever they want. Like that's the only thing I ever heard. Like, yeah, also, like, you guys got to put reflectors on your goddamn bikes, especially at nighttime, and your horse-drawn carriages if you're driving at night.
So what you're telling me is that the only way to save Drago is to get him into an Amish community to be the guy to put reflectors on bikes.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Mac also in this match on the road back to challenge for the Lucha Underground title after coming literally 1 second short against Brat champion Johnny Mundo.
Oh, dang, he's Brat culture now.
I think he's always been, just now we have a word for it.
And Jack Evans, no. Am I thinking Jack Evans or Angelico? They got that Brat green on them.
But they both do.
Okay, all right, guys. They're Brat before Brat was even a thing.
They really are. And we'd love to see it.
And you're all about that with, where you're from, Kaisertown. You're into that Brat culture.
Yes.
I assume that's they have a lot of German and Polish people in a place called Kaisertown.
Yeah, it's a German-Polish community.
All right, hell yeah.
You are correct. I hope that read as laughter and not as scoff.
No, it did. But
Okay, good.
But you just laughing at a thing I said that was sort of serious. It's like, but please confirm.
Wait, hold on. How is Brat culture a serious thing? How is that not a wacky schmacky pun?
Oh, because you're probably, at least I grew up eating a lot of brats and did not enjoy them. Enjoy them now. It's just like there's a bunch of, there's too much meat in there, okay?
I would call none of this serious.
I will say, let's blame it on Margie. Let's blame it on the other person and just say they made bad brats. Especially when it's a boiled brat. I don't want a boiled brat.
How could I ever blame anything on Margie when she has impeccable taste? Dominic Mysterio, our Intercontinental Champion, her favorite wrestler.
Okay, well, then let's blame it on the other guy.
Okay. 669 Satan?
No, the other guy.
No.
You should
Oh.
wait, when I'm talking about my mom and then say the other guy, you should be like, oh yeah, I immediately know who I'm talking about.
Of course.
Like if I said, hey, Bleep, aka your mom,
Thank you.
and the other guy who raised you, you'd be like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. I was, to be fair, which was Satan. I was raised with the teachings of Satan in my heart. He will always be my Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, the other guy.
Okay.
And that's really what this podcast is about, is bringing Satan into your everyday lives through your ear holes.
He's the one who rescued you when you got armadilloed, you know?
Yes. He is the Dennis Leary rescue me.
All right, hell yeah.
Bell rings, Drago with a shotgun drop kick into Tornado DDT takes the fight immediately to Mac. Mac is fast, but not quite as fast as the powerful Drago. So to counter this speed and this power that Drago does hybridize to such great efficacy, Mac falls on technique to prevent Drago from dictating the pace. When they stand back up, Mac flips Drago the bird without even looking at him, then looks at him with the coldest stare, cold enough to freeze a fire lizard out of hell. It was one of the greatest middle fingers of television I've ever seen. This was a great middle finger.
It would have been funny when he's not looking, flips him off, and Mac just kind of like licks his finger, and then Drago goes back, huh? I guess that's more of a Marty move.
I think that's just horny.
Okay, that's a
might be
white
more
rabbit.
horny than-
You want to know who it would be very funny to do? Who's the morph suit guy?
Oh, Saltador?
If he it looks, you can tell he's trying to lick it, but he has a complete bodysuit on. That'd be very funny.
Also, Saltador is the horniest member of the rabbit tribe.
Yeah.
So like it fits. It's just, it fits. But it was very funny the way Mac did it this time. It was a very cool move.
Uh-huh.
And it works. It gets in Drago's head. Mac gets a 2 count off of a running heel kick, counters with a handstand on the ropes into a little handstand twerk, which is a great way. There is so much we mentioned earlier about tradition and history. There is so much tradition in that, you do the handstand on the top rope sort of as a counter, but not enough people twerk while they're up there. And now after seeing Mac do a twerk handstand on the top rope, we need more of that in professional wrestling. And it's important not just to have tradition, but to build off of it.
As Ludacris once said in a hook, even though it was another person, pussy popping on a handstand.
So true. So true, so powerful. Words to live by. Mac is vibing with the believers. However, that leaves him open for Drago to unload again. Mac answers, dumps Drago on the dome with a back suplex, but Cobra Moon gets on the apron. Mac face palms her, but is distracted long enough for Drago to kick him in the head before completing the Dragon's Lair pin win in 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Bad distraction. I didn't like it.
I made sense for like a less than 4 minute match for me. And again, everything else I thought about this match just moved and flowed so quickly. And again, going back to like what is professional, like showing this match to someone who's never seen professional wrestling before. Like I think that part of the reason I watched professional wrestling is for like, we can do storyline stuff like this. It hurts because we love the Mac and we want to see the Mac win.
Mm-hmm.
But like, these are layers to the story that we can tell that we really can't tell anywhere else.
Okay, my only pushback is if this is a perfect match to show someone, we need to find an equally perfect with a clean finish where it's just like, no, everything's above board. There's no distraction from the outside. It's just 2 people wrestling, clean finish, we're good.
In under 4 minutes. Because my other reason is that this is under 4 minutes, and I love that to show people.
As I used to do quick hits, there are a lot of under 5 minute and 4 minute wrestling matches in this. So I'll start looking. I'll find them.
No, that's true. I think one of the things I also like about it is that it's under 4 minutes, and I should have specified, and was so competitive. Like,
yeah,
you can do squashes a lot of times, or even if it has a dirty finish like this, normally you could see one person being up the entire time. Mac got a lot of his stuff in. Like, Mac looked great, but they both looked great. They were both getting stuff in. It was it was just a very competitive under 4 minute match.
I would explain it as Drago didn't need that distraction to win, but he needed it to win in under 4 minutes.
Yes. I liked that. I like that nuance. I can't explain it further than that. After the match, Mac hits a stunner on Drago, loads Cobra up for one, but Pindar of the reptile tribe makes the save and starts beating up Mac. Vibora, the other member of the reptiles, come out to deliver a chokeslam as the reptiles stand over the fallen Mac.
No!
Very sad stuff. We go to commercial, we come back, we are in the ring for Dario's special announcement. He hypes the 100th episode next week. Card includes Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Pentagon Dark for an Aztec medallion. A lot of history between those two. There's history between everyone. They say that on commentary, a lot of history between those two. There's history between Pentagon and everyone in the temple because he's broken everyone's arm. Like at this point, Pentagon has a bad history with literally everyone except Vampiro.
And everyone except Stryker.
He needs to break Stryker's arm.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
It kind of needs to happen. And that's the wild thing. I was thinking about this last night. Pentagon's breaking arms for the Master. Like, that never changed. That was always the storyline. We've, for a long time, have known Vampiro is the Master. It's kind of, as much as we want to blame Pentagon for breaking everyone's arms, we really need to blame Vampiro for continuing to instruct his pupil to break arms.
No, so I think that's especially like realizing you're in a codependent relationship where you're like, hey, I need to live to support this person and their wants and needs. I think he is now going through that phase of relearning how to live, and now he is breaking arms for himself, not the Master.
I love that. I love that as headcanon. We have no text to support that.
Well, he broke away. He was like, screw you, Vampiro.
Did he? I don't remember. Wait, when did he? I don't think he was ever like, screw you, Vampiro.
Yeah, there was a little bit in, I think, end of season 2, beginning of season 3. I could have swore like they had a little like, come on, especially with the Puma stuff. He's been like, nope, get out of here. And during the Dark Lotus triad stuff, like there's unfortunately threads that I wish Pentagon had fully achieved, like story-wise, because like the Black Lotus triad stuff, it sucks that was just kind of one and done.
Yeah, because I think you are right. I think it was around the time he was title chasing for Ultima Lucha Dos. But like, yeah, like I want to see them come back to it, specifically him and Vampiro, because it does feel like obviously we love Pentagon, but like, why are you still breaking arms like that, bud? We need. I want a little bit of growth.
Ooh, we get with Vampiro and him a two-way arm break, like both of them break each other's arms at once, and then they're like they're done. It's a 10-second count out on both of them.
Yeah, and their arms are now just left there in the middle of the ring, detached from their bodies, and two dogs come up and they each take a bit of the shoulder and they start eating those arms, and then they meet in the middle, and then the dogs kiss.
Oh, then they start humping YOLO style.
Yeah, you know what it is. You know what time it is. It's time to drop this one. Also next week, Johnny Mundo versus Prince Puma in an Atomicos match, 4v4. It's going to be Taya, PJ Black, Ricky Mandel, and Johnny Mundo versus Prince Puma and whoever he can get. Puma will be out later to announce his team tonight. And of course, the main event, the Monster Matanza versus Rey Mysterio. Dario calls out Rey, who 619 to the boss a couple weeks ago, and has been haunting his brother, the Monster, ever since. Like all season, I should say.
And Vampiro directly quotes an ICP song when he says, like Lil Rey Mysterio, which is from The Slap, maybe, or from the supervillain song on The Wraith, Shangri-La.
Hell yeah. He also immediately like clarifies, like, I'm not trying to belittle him. I've just known him since he was literally a child.
Uh-huh.
They started training together at the same time. It's very sweet. It's always sweet to like see, even when Vampiro's shitting on Conan, it's always cool to just hear him talk like about his history and about their shared history. Mm-hmm. Like as many things as you can say about like Vampiro and some of these guys, it's so clear how much they love this stuff. It goes back to those opening moments where they're just thanking the fans for watching. It's like, this is real and it's beautiful.
And thank you fans for listening. Or wait, scratch that. Thank you fan for listening.
Stop it. I knew you were going there. And who knows? This might be the week my mom listens. Maybe. So Dario calls out Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio comes out. Dario tells Ray to watch the warm-up he's about to give his brother Matanza. Later tonight, it'll be Matanza versus the entire Rabbit Tribe, 3-on-1. Paul London, Mala Suerte, and the aforementioned Saltador.
Ooh, Matanza's gonna get fucked up literally via secondhand psychedelics from their sweat.
Hell yes. Ray, however, will not be, because Dario tells him to watch from the couch. Dario does not want Ray interfering, so he's being sent home for the night. And Ray goes to leave, holds back, then tells Dario he's not going anywhere. Yeah, fuck you, Dario. Dario thought he might say that, so to make his point, either Rey Mysterio leaves or Dario will fire Ray's protege, Dragon Azteca, right now.
No!
Of course no. Ray agrees, but to make his point, he tells Dario next week he ends the Cueto family legacy, and after he finishes with Matanza, he's coming for you, Dario.
Oh yeah.
Next up, the 5-0 street fight for an Aztec medallion. Detective Reyes, aka Cortez Castro, versus Joey Ryan. And by 5-0 street fight, we just mean a street fight with a lot of cop gear around. If you were asking before which is the match I was not super excited for, this was the match.
Yes, because of JR in the mix, but fuck, Cortez Castro rocks so hard.
This was a really sweet, it's hard because the match isn't bad at all. I took notes and then I just kind of went back and which is great because we're running short on time. I did like the super abbreviated version of them because it's still, Castro does a great job, but Joey Ryan he's there are enough of his fingerprints. He's very gross. And it doesn't, and like, I think it's even worse watching a good match of his. Because that's how you sort of like forget like, oh, right, he's a bad person. He was good at wrestling.
It's sort of like when there are some artists that you can separate the art from, like if someone just embezzles a bunch of money from their family and they're really shitty, but they make good like hardcore songs. Yeah, that's fine. But like, there's no way, like, the art does not reflect the crime that they did. But when it comes to Joey Ryan or like Marilyn Manson, No Bunny, or mindless self-indulgence, the crimes that they did are so reflective of their art where you kind of can't, like, they start talking about like having sex with a woman or being like sexual, and it's like, no, like that is the crime that you did.
Yeah, 100%. Because I know you're a huge fan of Dane Cook's brother, who just embezzled a bunch of money from his family. And Dane Cook's brother is such a fine artist. But no, like I almost have that note verbatim in the few notes. Do you have any notes on this match?
I have quite a bit. This was the longest match, so I do have the most notes for it. So do you want me to just go through and then you fill in the gaps?
Sure.
My first note is cops, cops, cops.
Yeah, so the way they set it up, and they always do this with their specialty hardcore matches, the ring is surrounded by cops with riot shields. There's a couple police barricades, police lights just like scattered around the ring to do the little flashy every now and again, and a big old cop car opposite of the stairs. It's a great setup.
I did write down the cops around everywhere should hate JR the most because he is a dirty cop, and like cops should hate dirty cops.
Ideally, yeah. I don't know if they do.
I love that Cortez Castro was getting more chants than JR.
Was he?
Maybe the people chanting were just louder than them, but in my headphones it sounded like he was getting more chants.
To me, he was getting more positive chants. To me, though, it sounded like people agreeing with Joey's character. Like he's still, at the time of filming, he is still, and it's, I think another important thing about if you ever get yourself caught in a Lucha Underground podcast and you're watching old Joey Ryan matches, something you will sort of be forced to reconcile with is at the time, those of us outside who didn't know what he was doing, really thought he was one of the good guys. Like he was, out of the Reseda scene, the same scene that put PWG on the map, the Young Bucks, all those guys, and seemingly was someone that like booked other wrestlers, was very good, like was one of those guys that was bringing people up. That was the story. As we find out later in life, he was doing a lot more harm than good.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of the fans, they're agreeing to chant. I know that at some point there's a sleazy chant against Joey Ryan, which is part of his character.
I guess that's what I was seeing is like they're going with his character opposed to chanting for him.
Yeah, they're not giving him babyface cheers or anything, but they are still giving him exactly what he wants. And even in that kind of like Joey was a very comedy-based wrestler, so there's a lot of like tongue-in-cheekiness even to booing him. And I was getting like that's if you ever do a wrestling podcast and you find yourself watching a bunch of Joey Ryan, not a bunch. Thankfully he's not on this show too much. But just something to like be aware, I guess kind of you will be forced to confront is that like, yeah, he really seemed like one of the silly little good guys, and he was not.
Why do I have, let me give you some chapstick after that beat kissing?
I don't know. What? Maybe after the, what?
That's for this match, I don't know. I liked someone said a wooden shampoo billy club because they just kept slamming someone's head with a billy club.
Yeah, they go into the ring at some point, bring out a bunch of nightsticks and throw them into the ring. Those, like almost all the weapons are somehow cop affiliated. Except for two, but those are used to Street Fighter 2, a cop car, which we'll get into, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I liked how Stryker called Vampiro Charlie Brown all grown up.
Okay, true.
Why do I have ew? Oh, because he pulls out the sucker.
Search.
Oh, cavity search. Yep.
Cavity search. I imagine. Did I jump ahead or are we?
I think that's about where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, so the cavity search spot. Joey Ryan pops on a plastic rubber glove. He gets a whole bottle of lube. And he just puppeteers Castro around for a little bit. Great.
Then after that, someone starts bleeding, possibly, right?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, it actually might be a little before that. Castro starts bleeding out of the top of his head after all the nightclub hits.
Yeah.
And he looks great. As a fan of the artistry of creating blood in matches, he bleeds very good.
So I wrote down, because Vampiro said something fired Castro up, and I was like, the blood fired him up, not the SA in a wrestling match, guys, because they were like, oh man, getting cavity search really must have fired him up. No one says that. Like, oh man, I couldn't get my coffee before I went to the airport, like I'm on a red eye, but they cavity searched me and boy, oh boy, I'm fired up now. Yeah, fired up to go to a courthouse, find a lawyer, and put forth a lawsuit.
Here's the thing. So I didn't totally hear that. But I did agree with them in my notes, in my long version of these notes, because he does fire up immediately after that spot. Like he's bleeding over the head for a little while. Then he gets a hand up his asshole, and all of a sudden he's like throwing in Zaguris. He's tossing Joey out the ring. Like the match is hard. We're doing this so you don't have to watch a Joey Ryan match, and we advise you not to.
I don't know who's getting fired up from, getting fingers in their ass, because I get pretty mellowed and chilled.
Cops, I guess. Don't forget, Castro's still a cop,
So yeah, they go outside of the ring, and then no cop would ever allow this to happen to themselves, because they'd be like, oh yeah, you pushed me, I'm gonna beat you so hard you're paralyzed.
No, unless you're a cop. Rules are different if you're a cop.
Whoa, so other cops can push other cops? No, in media I've seen, especially if they're dirty cops, if another cop pushes another cop, they want to. Have you seen Fox's hit TV show Gotham?
I was gonna say, of course not. To kind of just prod and tease and make fun of you. Of course I've seen Gotham. Me and my mom used to watch it all the time. We loved it.
Did you watch all 5 seasons?
No, I fell off because I moved to Chicago.
Okay, well, you might need to start coming over just to watch Gotham, because Nicole and I, especially the later seasons, it just becomes a straight up soap opera. And you can tell which seasons by Barbara Gordon how deep her V-neck is, because in the 5th season, it's just like to the start of her pubis. Like, it's so deep. The show rocks, but And their cops are punching dirty cops because they're like, hey, don't mess with me, Jim Gordon. And Jim Gordon's like, fuck you, dude, you're a dirty cop. And then he punches him real hard.
Bob Dylan's on there as a dirty cop? I gotta check this show out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do love this spot. So like Joey Ryan keeps trying to run away. The cops keep him in. And they create like almost like a fight club circle pit around the two, which is just a really... It would be cooler if they weren't cops, but it's a cool visual nonetheless. Just to see these guys surround them with riot shields, boxing these two guys in to start fighting. Castro throws a wild crossbody, knocks out a cop. Then Joey picks him up and throws him into two more cops. And then Joey Ryan takes all these fallen brothers. He takes their riot shields, he throws them into the ring. He uses one of them across Castro's head, breaks it in half.
I'm shaking my head no, because the one that broke in half, they also put in that pile, and it's like, that's sharp. Do not slam, like that could have cut real sharp and deep into someone.
Yeah. Dangerous stuff. There's more. Do you have anything before hot coffee and taser?
No, that's literally it says hot coffee to taser?
Great. So yeah, I think they fall back outside. And there's this reveal that's been here, a part of the set that's been here the whole time. A table of coffee and donuts. They kind of fight over, they fight for a thermos of coffee for a while. Eventually, Castro takes it. He opens up Joey's trunks and pours the hot coffee down the front of his trunks.
Oh, yeah.
Before taking a taser and directly tasering Joey's penis. And this is the middle of the match. I have a note here, actually, that this doesn't end, because it's kind of goofy, but it's played very violently.
Yeah.
Like, there's no whackety schmackety whoa. This is no burning coffee and then a taser directly to the junk. It's very aggressive, and it does not end the match at all. Like, this is the middle.
Here's what I'll say to compliment Nick Gage. He at least would have had the taser live. I think,
yes.
You can see that the taser is not actually on. They just fed that noise in. It would have been rad. You said, in the front of his trunks, and I was like, there's something I can do right here. There's something, and I was like, you want to know who doesn't like the front of trunks? Frieza.
Wow.
And then I just remembered how fucking awesome those episodes were when Trunks goes back in time. God.
Trunks is the coolest.
Guys, if you have never experienced, or just watch the last 2 episodes of the Frieza arc, then the episodes that follow, and then just Trunks coming back in time, and you're like, it's vagina and bulimia's son?
Yo, I cannot stress enough. If someone tries to making you watch a Joey Ryan match, you tell them to go fuck themselves, and you instead go watch Trunks beat the shit out of Frieza and his father, King Cole.
Oh my, it's so
it's so much better than watching a Joey Ryan match.
You're like, well, oh no, Frieza's back. Oh, what's gonna happen? Then Trunks shows up and just 1v2s them without lifting a goddamn finger, and then says, hey, Goku, your heart's kind of fucked up.
With the sword that goes swing, and the fact, and he also cares about healthcare, and it's good, it's very good, and that jacket is the coolest jacket.
Oh my god, it's wild that I forgot it. Like, I forgot about that arc, and man, two thumbs up, Mr. Akira.
We need to remember, anytime we get depressed talking about an artist who rightfully should be canceled, we can just talk about Trunks instead.
I thought you were going to say Akira Toriyama, but okay.
Or Akira Toriyama works. You know what? That also works too. I would love to discuss Devilman, like a one-off character from Dragon Ball, who's just a devil, and he's great. We'll save that for the next canceled wrestler, though. They go to Street Fighter 2, a cop car. They bring out 2 weapons. I really did enjoy this, where they each bring out a weapon, and they go to swing it at each other, but they just, dodge in time to, either bust out a headlight or break out the windshield of a car. Wrestling on cars are always cool. Watch Eddie Guerrero do it in the WWE, though.
Watch Shaggy 2 Dope do it in WCW.
Oh, you mean where he slides off of a bus?
Yeah.
You know what? True. Watch that. Do you? I kind of just jumped at the end.
Yeah, that's my next note.
have.
But real quick, I was trying to convince Nicole to do some like insane clown posse merch where it's a panda with a shaggy or Violent J face paint on, because like that's just what a panda looks like. And then wearing a Hatchet Man shirt, Fago, and Nicole's like, no man, like I asked my business manager or like someone who's helping her with that stuff, like. And they're like, oh, that's not your audience. And then I go, Nicole, we're at a horror convention that also has wrestlers here. It is your audience. And then not 5 minutes later, someone walks by in an Insane Clown Posse shirt. And I'm like, see, we could have sold a fucking sticker to that person.
Damn, whoop fucking whoop.
I didn't say the F word. I wasn't that angry at her.
No, of course not. Yeah, juggalos are everywhere.
Uh-huh. And they spend money. They appreciate physical media.
They do. Yes.
I am planning on selling my horrorcore CDs, and some of them I have had people be like, you own that one? I will pay you $160 for just that one CD.
Damn.
So yeah, guys, maybe if Nicole had those stickers, she could have made $160 from a juggalo.
James, why don't we do a juggalo podcast?
Oh,
something
dang.
like, I don't know, we listen to every ICP album and then we create a definitive playlist for people to get into the Insane Clown Posse.
This is how you're going to find your juggalette, or I guess she'll eventually be a future juggalette spouse as you start dating someone and then they're like, oh, I've been curious about that. And that's who you start doing, shuffling the deck again, where you're the James and then she's the Sean.
Wow. I would everything except, God, please don't let me. I don't want to trap a woman into a relationship by doing a podcast with her.
No, she's the one, because since she's the Sean, she recommends it, and you recommended it after hearing about all the socialism that ICP's about.
Great. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I just, as I said that, I realized I was like thinking of like all the terrible like all those terrible podcast couples you see like in TikTok and stuff. Usually they're just like, it's a very attractive woman and then her domineering boyfriend in the background being like, yeah, babe, conservative talking points. And I wasn't sitting here thinking like, wait, I have a very good example of that being a very good, not toxic TikTok thing directly in front of me. Like, you and Nicole are not that couple. TikTok has ruined my brain is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, hey guys, follow me, Marshland Monster.
Yeah, follow if you want to see a positive podcast relationship, which is decidedly rare in these horrible times. Follow Marshland Monster and listen to a good, clean, nice people relationship.
I might, for Magical Meatball Girls, I might be like, Nicole, let's do a video podcast. Let's film it and it'll be fine.
I'm so glad. I thought you were going to say, I might just be like, Nicole, what if I just start being really toxic during our podcast and just make you spit out these conservative viewpoints?
I mean, we've discussed it to be like, yeah, we'd be so much better. Nicole wants us, on Lance's episode of Mostly Speaking Sentai a couple episodes ago, she was like, we need to start doing like fear mongering, but for good. And then I like did a good one, and Lance was like, wait, that's not real. I was about to go out and vote.
Fearmonger for good.
Yeah.
Stop watching these horrible Joey Ryan matches and get out there and fearmonger for good.
But what's great about this Joey Ryan match is he loses shit, you know?
I did want to mention this suplex off a table. Cortez Castro brings Joey Ryan up. It's like the second to last spot. He puts him on the announce desk. And the suplex they take off the announce desk to the floor which is now covered in like donuts and hot coffee.
Oh yeah.
And like, it is so dangerous. This spot looks so gnarly. Then Castro throws Joey into the ring, running Michinoku Driver into that pile of shields that we mentioned before. Castro wins the match in 13 minutes and 7 seconds.
Woo!
Yeah.
Go the CC, you know, like in Comedy Central, the CC.
Yeah, wait, Cortez Castro.
Yeah, the CC.
Yeah. What if So we think we've seen him be an undercover cop twice. What if he was never an undercover cop? He was an undercover producer for Comedy Central.
I wouldn't mind that.
He joined the police force, and then he got sent, to find, he was looking for the next Reno 911.
Oh.
And instead, he got wrapped up in all of this temple nonsense.
Good thing he's good at fighting.
Thank God.
Most people on Comedy Central are not, so it's good.
Well, he had to learn. He was Jon Stewart's agent, and that diva. Oh boy, he had to lay a few blaps on him. He had to give him the old 1-2, suplex Jon Stewart to hell.
I was saying he's fighting for Jon Stewart, to get him better deals.
He had to fight against. No, he did have to fight against Jon Stewart. He was also fighting for him in the contract negotiations, but he also had to throw a choke slammer to Jon Stewart's way.
Okay,
had to hit him with that.
Jon Stewart's into that,
Oh yeah, no, Jon Stewart, yeah, famous wrestling personality, Jon Stewart.
But what's the next thing that happens?
The 3-on-1. Oh, you don't want to break down Jon Stewart's wrestling career? 3-on-1, the Rabbit Tribe, Paul London, Mala Suerte, and Saltador versus the monster Matanza Cueto with Dario Cueto.
How does this match before they really start fighting? There's a note that I have down, but I want it set up, but I don't remember why I have it down.
Let's get into it then. Dario leads Matanza to the ring as Paul works out some of the knots in Saltador's shoulders. The bell rings, Rabbit Tribe huddle up, then Mala Suerte hands Saltador a top hat to present to Matanza as Paul gives a big thumbs up.
This is the beginning of a yaoi manga.
Okay. That's... Yep. That's not what I expected you to say. I completely understand where it is coming from, though.
Again, I've been reading primarily romance manga.
Sure. No, I'm not. You're not wrong. It's at all.
Guys, my lovey-dovey wife is a stone cold killer. The second volume, much better than the first. I'm enjoying it.
Ooh, this Batman podcast just got a hell of a lot more interesting.
Ooh.
Matanza, by the way, does not move. He does not accept the hat. So Paul puts the hat in the corner as the 3 Rabbit Tribe members take Matanza's hands to show him the joy of ringing around the rosy.
Again, beginning of a yaoi manga.
I love that they don't give up to the hat doesn't work. Have you ever tried Ring Around the Rosie? So they try and get into it. Matanza, however, brings his arms together, causing Mala Suerte and Saltador to collide before pump kicking Paul to the dirt.
Hell yeah.
Now the match is really starting. Matanza rushes at Paul, who pulls down the top rope, causing the monster to tumble outside. Matanza recovers, drags Paul out after him. While on the outside, Matanza rushes at I'm sorry, I read the same note twice. Saltador flies out of the ring, but is caught by Matanza. So Mala Suerte completes the attack by drop kicking through the ropes. And I love the way all 3 Rabbit members, they have to bring Matanza in together, and it takes them a long time because he's a goddamn monster. Eventually they do. They get Matanza back into the ring. Wiggly arms circle around Matanza before the patented synchronized triple punch, which is they all punch him in the head at the same time, which is harder to do than it looks. For all of their fists to connect to the skull at the same time, mm-hmm. It indicates skill, it indicates empathy and listening, and just really strong teamwork.
Zip, zap, zop. They must be doing it beforehand.
Yaoi comics. It's all about communication and teamwork. The teamwork of a relationship.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. By the way, all of this is in vain, as immediately after the punch, Matanza wreaks havoc on the rabbits. Rabbits do recover, though. There's another triple team in the corner, setting up Mala Suerte's patented corner-to-corner, coast-to-coast dropkick.
Oh, yeah.
However, unlike most coast-to-coast dropkicks, this is not a flying attack. He climbs the top rope to come down and then run across the ring. It is very stupid, but it works. Mm-hmm. It sets Matanza how he's too groggy to defend against a series of drop kicks.
So good.
It's very similar. It's similar to the Mil Muertes Paul London spot when he's just super kicking him over and over. But in this case, it's 3 men. Just every time someone completes a drop kick, the next guy is already midair for another drop kick. I didn't count, at least six or eight times they connect with him. The rabbits, however, celebrate too soon with another ring around the rosy, which honestly, I can't blame them. If I had friends like this, it would be hard for me to not ring around the rosy with these guys.
I play Ring Around Rosie the Riveter, because I gotta put a ring on that strong woman.
God, you are such a feminist.
Uh-huh.
And thank you. Every day I salute the shit out of that.
Because when she's got that ring on her, she's now my property. You're no longer working, honey.
That took a... Yep. I already said you were a feminist, and I guess this is how we're defining feminism on this podcast.
You want to know why she's my property now?
No, but go ahead.
Because it's in like the 40s and shit. She needs we're not really in love, but she needs that financial stability. But she's working on the side.
Oh, wow, great. This is feminism. You heard it.
Yeah, it's feminism in the 1940s of being like, people are just going to label you a spinstress and like be really mean to you. Yeah, let's get married.
I'm not a women's history buff by any means, but I feel like you could say a lot of things in the 40s were just feminism, and by comparison, they were.
Yeah.
Like, I was crab diving off the coast of Maine. I went under the ocean. I found a mermaid. She put me into a suplex. I died, came back to life, haunted her favorite conch shell, and that's feminism, baby.
I lightly goosed her on the posterior. That's feminism.
Lightly goosed her on the posterior. Yes.
And I asked first. And her
consent.
response was, huh? And then I lightly goosed her. Feminism in the 40s.
Who is this? Who is this character? I lightly goosed her. There's nothing light about Matanza going to work on the rabbits, however. He throws Paul into the other two, who catch him, but all three fall when Matanza drop kicks the pile of bunnies. Baldo bomb to Saltador. Matanza chokes Paul on the top rope, but the rabbits have one more trick. I love it. It's while Matanza is choking Paul. Matanza is distracted, choking Paul London on the top rope, as Suerte hands out Easter eggs to the other rabbits, who, again, in another synchronized punch to the head, they all break the eggs over Matanza's skull, releasing the confetti inside, of course.
Hell yeah.
For such a goofy spot, it is so beautiful to see the confetti slowly fall out of the sky.
They take off their sunglasses and their masks, and it's Rip Taylor under all three.
Fuck, yes. If Rip Taylor came out next week to like I've been with the Rabbit Tribe this whole time, I won't do a Rip Taylor voice. It would be beautiful. Rip Taylor should be the next Benjamin Cook, but for the Rabbit Tribe, and as opposed to Benjamin Cook, we're all very excited to see him.
Yeah, I think, is he a good guy? I think he was in the sense that I think he's like, oh, new comedy sucks dick. Like I think near the end of his life, he just kind of became set in as like, oh, they don't know what real comedy is.
Let me hit someone. Yeah, interesting.
So I don't think he was a bad man. He was just like an old man set in his ways. And it's like, dude, just like give flowers to the new up and comers.
I'll have to use my mermaid feminism and hold a seance. And then when the ghost of Rip Taylor comes in, I will lightly goose him.
I'm sorry about all of that, guys.
Me too. But I love it. Paul, after the eggs crack across Matanza's skull, he falls. Paul London with a shooting star press off of the top rope. All three rabbits cover Matanza, who kicks out defiantly. Mala and Salt hold Matanza down for a second time as Paul climbs to the top rope again. However, the monster tosses them off and to the dirt. Paul, left on the top rope, comes down hard with a superplex as Saltador comes back into the ring just to eat the wrath of the gods. Matanza wins the match in 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
The only thing I have to say about this is I love how strong they make the rabbits look. They could just be these jobbers coming out. Oh, yeah. But every single time, yes, they're goofy. Yes, they're stupid. But when push comes to shove, they are exceptional wrestlers, and I love them.
I think it took us longer than 4 minutes and 44 seconds to do the breakdown of that match.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, we took tangents here and there, but it also goes to show like how much the Rabbits were doing. Like they had so many like actual like both real offense and straight goof offense, but that also worked. Like the egg spot, the egg being that kind of goofy thing, but sets up for Paul's finisher, the shooting star press. For them, yeah, and it's still surprising me that it didn't feel like 4 minutes and 44 seconds. That honestly took me for a loop. But like in the best way of like, oh, this did not feel that short.
Yeah.
Damn, and I still could have kept watching them wrestle.
Yeah, but let's get to the last thing in this at maybe.
Yeah, Puma's got to announce who is on his team. Such a little throwaway line. Probably the most impactful thing from Dario's in-ring announcement earlier is that, oh, by the way, Puma will be here later tonight to talk about who's going to be on his team. So yeah, they got the Atomicos match, him and Johnny Mundo on the 100th episode. Puma's thought long and hard about who his partners will be, but is cut off by the champ, Johnny Mundo, with a mic of his own. This is an in-ring promo, by the way. Johnny says, nobody cares about your team, Puma. I'm taking you to Slamtown, just like I did the first episode of Lucha Underground. Puma reminds Johnny that he got that win back to become the first ever Lucha Underground champion.
Oh, snap.
And then got a bunch more on top of it, baby. Johnny says Puma is confident, but the question is, how sure is he that he can win?
How he says there's a beat and he goes, you seem pretty confident. Very funny.
Very silly, yeah. A little bit of like, what's my next line? Oh yeah? But very campy, very works. Johnny kind of puts it to Puma that if he is so confident, you know what? Lucha de apuesta, title versus mask. Puma accepts without hesitation. He runs a hand over the title. He caresses the title. He strokes the back of his palm against the title's cheek. This is yaoi. This is all yaoi. Wrestling is yaoi. If you've been listening to however many episodes we've done, at least 99, and you have not yet learned that wrestling is yaoi, wake the fuck up, sheeple. Wrestling is yaoi.
And at this point, I'm like, a mask match that finally means something. They've always been like haphazardly thrown in there. I was like, yes, this is good. But unfortunately, Dario comes out and changes things up.
As he is wont to do. He likes the effort, Dario. He enjoys the effort, but not the idea. Apparently, they already have a mask on the line at Ultima Lucha, which, for the life of me, I can't tell you what match that is.
Phoenix versus Marty.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God. I was staring wide-eyed in terror at my notes last night, being like, what fucking match is that? Okay, yes. So there is already a mask on the line. Dario does not want to look like he's running out of ideas. What else could Johnny want? Oh, what about your career?
So Johnny's winning Ultima Lucha.
Hold on. We're good. Everyone in the building. I got a few more notes. I got two. Everyone in the building, even Vampiro, says, no, this is a bad idea. No. Like, to see even Vampiro stand up and be like, nah, dog, this ain't it. It's like, oh, no. Puma considers, throws a flying knee into the champ's skull, sending him out of the ring, and accepts the stipulation. And yes, Puma is, we know, like, spoiler territory, we know that this is Puma's last season with the Temple. He will be losing the mask to become Ricochet once again and sign with the WWE. Which I think we kind of knew that we assumed Puma wasn't going to win the match.
Yeah.
As soon as it became a title match.
I thought he did. I was thinking he might. I don't know. But all I was wondering was who's Puma's team, so much so that I did look to see who it was.
Ooh, don't tell. I did not.
I won't.
Okay. Is it Chavo?
No, Chavo, I will say that. Chavo does not show up.
We don't have to do the podcast next week then, I guess. Like if Chavo, you say he does not show up?
He doesn't show up, but...
Yeah, we could just end the podcast forever now, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing here if Chavo's not in my life.
But who will show up to Sean's Twitch stream? Where can they see that?
You want to show up? You want to be the stepfather I always knew I deserved? You come on over. You want to be my Dana Foster parent? You get over to twitch.tv/Goose Von Kaiser. I'm playing Disco Elysium and all sorts of shit.
Hey guys, and if you want me to be your podcast foster dad, head over to patreon.com/MLM pod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. This Friday is, I believe, a Citizens of Townsville Z with Crazy 8 the Snap Case. Wanted to say the Snape Case, but, you know, that's not his actual name. And starting next week, I'm going to start releasing the first podcast I ever did, #WhoIsHotter, from 2013, guys. Over 12 years old.
Have you listened to him yet?
Yeah, some of the writing I could do in my current voice and it would actually have worked, but I was just like not confident enough. But I've had other people listen to it, like Steve Barnes. Steve was like, if people are a fan of James, they will want to hear this.
That's so cool that you have stuff that goes that far back. That's very exciting. All you James heads out there perking the fuck up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's just bonus stuff. I'll probably put that on the $1 tier. So that's going to be every other Monday probably that I'll be putting those out on the $1 tier, as well as Friday stuff and monthly stuff. If you're a $10 patron, you get that. You can go over there. Sean, Torchyberry, myself, we discussed Sailor Suit and Machine Gun, a 1981 movie from Japan. It rocked. You got to check it out. And if you're a $10 patron, you get shout-outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F., Alex Z, The Waz, Orion, my Bickle brother in common law, Joshua, Jakis, Steve Barnes, a sweet child of the time, and Intro Void, my mother, Lil Corey's BFF, and now former roommate Shane from twitch.tv/Corwinning. It's Corwin, and This Movie's Gay is back. Go listen. We just discussed Desert Hearts. It will be a monthly podcast from twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. It's R2 Shelby 2, as well as Formulaic, a podcast in script writing, and The Rom Complex. And finally, from Speed Radio, a podcast in all things Sonic the Hedgehog, it's Tay, aka Zinny D, and I've been James.
And I've been Sean, and this has been Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling. Purple Prancer forever. Be like Bob.
Woo! See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.